The world has a number of problems that affect our future. There seems to be less connection to the things that really matter. Peace between countries, humanity between people, the environment, and the list goes on. If we don't take care of the world, we will have great difficulty carrying humanity into the next century. Global warming is the most serious threat to planetary existence ever faced by humans. I will be telling you about the causes and the direct impact on people as a result of the carbon emissions in our atmosphere. I will also discuss what we can do to reverse the effect. Our consumption of energy directly affects the atmosphere. The atmosphere is thickening because of the pollution we are putting into the air. This is a problem because it is trapping in more heat from the sun rays and warming up the earth by too much, making it too hot. This affects the ecological balance. CO2 levels have risen consistently since 1958, and the average annual temperature has risen at the same rate. Even though some governments have created carbon laws, there has been little change in the levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Some of the effects of global warming include glaciers melting all over the world, at an alarming rate. In Nepal, 40% of the population depend on glacial ice melt for their fresh water. When there are no more glaciers, there will be no more fresh water. In the last 650,000 years, the Earth's CO2 level has never gone above 300 parts per million. In the last 100 years, the CO2 levels have reached a level of 600 parts per million. When there is more CO2, the temperature increases because there is more heat trapped inside, which results in more dramatic, stronger storms and extreme heat like the Australian heatwave in 2013. This type of heatwave is forecast to be a serious long-term threat in the future. In the second half of this century, analysts believe that heat waves lasting 10 to 20 years could be highly possible as a result of current global warming effects. Based on recent trends, the heat waves from 1953 to 2013 demonstrate a change in the types of heat waves that have occurred in the past. They are hotter and they are lasting longer, making them significantly more dangerous and impactful. Another effect from the ocean's increase in temperature is greater evaporation. This causes the surrounding lands to be drier because the moisture is sucked out of the soil, and then you have drought. In the next 50 to 70 years, scientists predict that the polar ice cap will be completely gone. It has receded 40% in the last 40 years. The heat builds up in the Arctic Ocean because the water surrounding the ice cap is warmer, causing the ice cap itself to melt. When the ice cap melts, the water absorbs the heat instead of it being reflected off the ice. In the end, it is the ice that moderates the temperature for the planet. No ice, hotter temperature. Planet Earth cannot continue to exist under such stress. The ice shelves in the Antarctica were thought to be sustainable for 100 years. Scientists were shocked to see a large portion melt in just 35 days. This caused the sea level to rise. If all of Antarctica melts, it will increase the sea level by 20 feet. The effect would be entire cities, states, and countries underwater. Florida, San Francisco, the Netherlands, Beijing, New York City, all of them permanently submerged. The loss of life is said to be in the hundreds of millions if things continue as they are. Human life is not the only species threatened. There are thousands of ecological factors directly related to global warming too. Polar bears are drowning because the ice caps they swim to for hunting have melted. They need a place to rest, and the ice is so thin it cannot support their weight. Birds that rely on caterpillars for their food after migrating are starving because the caterpillars hatch 2 weeks earlier than the migration time, and this is all because of the increase in temperature. The pine beetle, whose population was controlled by long periods of cold weather, now invade species of coniferous trees because they are not being killed due to the warmer temperatures. In the end, this affects people's jobs and the economy when the softwood lumber supplies dry up. There has also been a reemergence of diseases that almost disappeared 20 years ago. The SARS epidemic, West Nile virus, which only existed in Africa before, have all found place in parts of the world where they did not exist due to the increase in global temperature. What the world needs to carry humanity into the next century is change. We can all do something to make that change happen. The biggest problem still lies in the hands of the politicians. Al Gore refers to the dilemma as political will. The people with the most power need to be willing to get on board and make change happen. This can sometimes be unpopular for a politician because it threatens the length of their political career. Change does not make everyone happy, particularly the oil companies and the auto industry that make the most money from keeping things the way that they are. Even with these obstacles in front of us, we need to do something. We don't have to rely on the government to take a lead. We can do something now. We can begin today to reduce our individual carbon footprint. Consider buying more efficient electrical appliances. The government gives a tax rebate on Enerstar appliances. When buying a car, people need to think about a fuel-efficient vehicle. A smart car or hybrid vehicle is a conscientious choice. Government needs to make renewable forms of energy, like solar or wind power, affordable for the people so that alternative energy is a choice. Support the purchase of locally grown foods and fuels like biofuels. The 100-mile diet is good for reducing greenhouse gases because the product doesn't have to travel as far to get to your dinner table. Don't buy strawberries in February because they come from somewhere that is far away. Recycle and buy recycled and recyclable products, and don't buy overpackaged items. The packaging ends up in landfill sites. David Suzuki suggests, we have to acquire a deeper understanding for the total cost of modern life in the context of a finite planet. Every benefit and convenience has hidden effects that we inflict on the environment. Individually, we have the power to make a change, but we must do something now to carry humanity into the next century.